हेलो नीट एस्पिरेंट, कैसे आप सभी लोग। उम्मीद है कि आप बड़े होंगे, मस्त होंगे, अच्छे से पढ़ाई कर रहे होंगे नीट 2023 के लिए। और ये वीडियो जो है डिमांड पर है। कमेंट बॉक्स में ये आया था कि सर आप एनसीईआरटी 11th क्लास और 12th क्लास एनसीईआरटी बायोलॉजी की रीडिंग करा दीजिए, नोट द एक्सप्लेनेशन। हम जैसे कि वो लड़का फिज़िक्स वाला में पढ़ता है, वो बता रहा था कि सर कहते हैं कि जब भी आप लेक्चर की शुरुआत करो तो कम से कम आप चैप्टर खुद ही रीडिंग करके आया करो। चैप्टर कंप्लीट होने के बाद भी आप रीडिंग क्या कीजिए, और उसके बाद एनसीईआरटी की रीडिंग मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट, और उसके समय समय पर भी एनसीईआरटी की चैप्टर्स की रीडिंग करते रहा कीजिए। तो मैं सिर्फ इसमें रीडिंग कराऊंगा, नोट द एक्सप्लेनेशन। तो लेट अस स्टार्ट, शुरू करते हैं। 11th क्लास चैप्टर 1 एनसीईआरटी बायोलॉजी, द लिविंग वर्ल्ड। How wonderful is the living world. The wide range of living types is amazing. The extraordinary habitats in which we found living organism, be it called mountains, deciduous forest, ocean, freshwater lakes, desert, or hot spring, leave as speechless. The beauty of a galloping horse, of the migrating bird, the value of flowers, or the attacking shark evokes awe and a deep sense of wonder. The ecological conflict and cooperation among members of a population and among populations of a community, or even the molecular traffic inside a cell, make us deeply reflect on what indeed is life. These questions has two implicit questions within it. The first is a technical one and seek answer to what living is as opposed to the non-living, and the second is a philosophical one and seek answer to what the purpose of life is. As scientists, we shall not attempt answering the second questions. We will try to reflect on what is living. Okay, what is living? सो मैं यहाँ पर एक बात और क्लियर कर दूँ, जैसे कि नीट 2022 में एसएसआर रीजन और स्टेटमेंट बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस बहुत सारे थे, बायोलॉजी के अंदर, केमिस्ट्री के अंदर भी। तो इससे भी हम अंदाज़ा लगा सकते हैं कि 2023 को अच्छे से बेहतर उसमें रिजल्ट लाने के लिए हमें एनसीईआरटी की रीडिंग बहुत ज़रूरी है। तो वापस टॉपिक पर आते हैं। व्हाट इज़ लिविंग? व्हेन वी ट्राई टू डिफाइन लिविंग, वी कन्वेंशनली लुक फॉर डिस्टिंक्टिव characteristic exhibited by living organism: growth, reproduction, ability to sense environment, and mount a suitable response come to our mind immediately as unique feature of living organism. One can add a few more features like metabolism, ability to self-replicate, self-organize, interact, and emergence to this list. Let us try to understand each of these. All living organisms grow, increase in mass, and increase in number of individuals are twin characteristic of growth. A multicellular organism grow by cell division. In plants, this growth by cell division occur continuously throughout their lifespan. In animals, this growth is seen only up to a certain age. However, cell division occurs in a certain tissue, replace lost cell. Unicellular organisms grow by cell division. One can easily observe this in vitro culture by simply counting the number of cells under the microscope. In majority of higher animal and plant, growth and reproduction are mutually exclusive events. One must remember that increase in body mass is considered as growth. Non-living objects also grow. If we take increase in body mass as a criteria for growth, mountains, boulders, and sand mound do grow. However, this kind of the growth exhibited by non-living object is by accumulation of material on the surface. In living organism, growth is from inside. Growth, therefore, cannot be taken as a defined property of living organism. Conditions under which it can be observed in all living organisms have to be explained, and then we understand that it is a characteristic of living system. A dead organism does not grow. Okay. Reproduction likewise a characteristic of living organism. In multicellular organism, reproduction refers to the production of progeny, a possessing feature more or less similar to those of parents. Invariably and Implicitly, we refer to sexual reproduction. Organisms reproduce by asexual means also. Fungi multiply and spread easily due to the millions of asexual spores they reproduce. In lower organisms like yeast and hydra, we observe budding. In planaria flatworm, we observe through regeneration. A fragmented organism regenerate the lost part of its body and become a new organism. The fungi, the filamentous algae, the proteinema of mosses will easily multiply by fragmentation. When it come to unicellular organisms like bacteria, unicellular algae or amoeba, reproduction is synonymous with growth. Increase in number of cells, we have already defined growth as equivalent to increase in cell number or mass. Hence, we notice that in single celled organism, we are not very clear about the uses of these two terms, growth and reproduction. Further, there are many organisms which do not reproduce. Mules, sterile, worker bee, infertile human couples. Hence, reproduction also cannot be an all-inclusive defined characteristic of living organism. Of course, no living object is capable of reproducing or replicating by itself. Another characteristic of life is metabolism. All living organisms are made up of chemicals. These chemicals, small and big, belonging to various classes, size, function, etc., are constantly being made and changed into some other biomolecules. These conversions are chemical reactions or metabolic reactions. There are thousands of metabolic reactions occurring simultaneously inside all living organisms, be they unicellular or multicellular. All plant, animal, fungi and microbe exhibit metabolism. The sum total of all the chemical reactions occurring in our body is metabolism. No non-living object exhibit metabolism. Metabolic reaction can be demonstrated outside the body in cell-free system. An isolated metabolic reaction outside the body of organism performed in a test tube is neither living or non-living. Hence, while metabolism is a defined feature of all living organisms without exception, isolated metabolic reactions in vitro are not living things but surely living reactions. Hence, cellular organization of the body is a defined feature of the life forms. Perhaps the most obvious and technical complicated feature of all living organisms is this ability to sense their surrounding or environment and respond to these environmental stimuli, which could be physical, chemical or biological. We sense our environment through our sense organs. Plant respond to external factors like light, water, temperature, other organism, pollutant, etc. All organisms from the prokaryotic to the most complex eukaryotic can sense and respond to environmental cues. Photoperiod affect reproduction in season. Breeders, both plants and animal, all organisms handle chemical entering their bodies. All organisms therefore are aware of their surrounding. Human being is the only organism who is aware of himself. Self consciousness therefore become the defining property of living organism. When it comes to human being, it all the more difficult to define the living state. We observe patients lying in a coma in a hospital, virtually supported by machines which replace heart and lungs. The patient is otherwise brain dead. The patient has no self consciousness. Are such patients who never come back to normal life, living or non-living. In higher classes, you will come to know that all living phenomena are due to underlying interaction. Property of tissue are not present in the constituent cell but arise as a result of interaction among the constituent cell. Similarly, property of cellular organelles are not present in the molecular constituents of the organelle but arise as a result of interaction among the molecular component comprise the organelle. These interactions result in the emergent property at a high level of organization. This phenomenon is true in the hierarchy of organizational complexity at all levels. Therefore, we can say that living organisms are self-replicating, evolving, self-regulating, interactive system capable of responding to external stimuli. Biology is the story of life on earth. Biology is the story of evolution of living organism on earth. All living organisms present, past and future are linked to the one another by the sharing of the common genetic material but to varying degree. Okay. Let us तो देखते हैं डाइवर्सिटी इन द लिविंग वर्ल्ड. इफ़ यू लुक अराउंड यू विल सी ए लार्ज वेराइटी ऑफ लिविंग ऑर्गेनिज्म, बी इट पॉटेड प्लांट, इंसेक्ट, बर्ड्स, योर पेट्स और अदर एनिमल्स and plants. Therefore are also several organisms that you cannot see with your naked eye but they are all around you. If you were to increase the area that you make observation in, the range and variety of organisms that you see would increase. Obviously, if you were to visit a dense forest, you would probably see a much greater number and kind of living organism in it. Each different kind of plant, animal and organism that you see represent a species. The number of species that are known and described range between 1.7 to 1.8 million. This refers to biodiversity or the number and types of organisms present on earth. We should remember here that as we explore new area and even old ones, new organisms are continuously being identified. As stated earlier, there are millions of plants and animals in the world. We know the plants and animals in our own area by their local names. These local names would vary from place to place, even within a country. Okay, within a country. Probably you would recognize the confusion that would be created if we did not find way and means to talk to each other to refer to organism we are talking about. Hence, there is a need to standardize the naming of living organisms such that a particular organism is known by the same name all over the world. This process is called nomenclature. Obviously, nomenclature or naming is only possible when the organism is described correctly and we know to what organism the name is attached to. This is identification. In order to facilitate the study, number of scientists have established procedure to assign a scientific name to each non-organism. This is acceptable to biologists all over the world. For plants, scientific names are based on arrange principle and criteria which are provided in International Code for Botanical Nomenclature (ICBN). You may ask, how are animals named? Animals taxonomies have evolved International Code of Zoological Name (ICZN). The scientific name ensures that each organism is only one name. Description of any organism should enable two people in any part of the world to arrive at same name. Okay, same name. They also ensure that such a name has not been used for any other non-organism. Biologists follow universally accepted principle to provide scientific name to non-organism. Each name has two components: the generic name and specific epithet. This system of providing a name with two components is called binomial nomenclature. This naming system given by Carolus Linnaeus is being practiced by biologists all over the world. His naming system using a two-word format was found convenient. Let us take the example of mango and understand the way of providing scientific name letter better. The scientific name of mango is written as Mangifera indica. Let us see how it is a botanical name. In this name, Mangifera represents the genus, which while indica is a particular species or a specific epithet or other universal rules of nomenclature as follows. First, biological names are generally in Latin and written in italics. They are Latinized or derived from Latin irrespective of their origin. Second, the first word in the biological name represents the genus, while the second component denotes the specific epithet. Third, both the word in the biological name when handwritten are separately underlined or printed in italics to indicate their Latin origin. For the first word denoting the genus start with a capital letter, while the specific epithet start with a small letter. It can be illustrated with the example of Mangifera indica. Okay. Chalo. Name of the another appear after the name of the author appear after the specific epithet at the end of the biological name, and it is written in abbreviated from Mangifera indica Lin. It indicates that this species was first described by Linnaeus. Since it is nearly impossible to study all the living organisms, it is necessary to devise some means to make this possible. This process is classification. Classification is the process by which anything is grouped into convenience category based on some easily observable characters. For example, we easily recognize groups such as plant or animal or dogs, cat or insect. The moment we use any of these terms, we associate certain characters with the organism in that group. What image do you see when you think of a dog? Obviously, each of one of us will see dogs and not cats. Now, if we were to think of Alastines, we know what we are talking about. Similarly, suppose we are to say mammals, you would of course think of animal with external ears and look body hair. Likewise, in plant, if we try to talk of wheat, the picture in each of our mind will be of wheat plant, not of rice or any other plant. Hence, all these dogs, cat, animals, wheat, rice, plant, animal, it is our conversant category we use to study organism. The scientific term for these categories is taxa. Okay, taxa. Here you must recognize that taxa can indicate category at very different levels. Plant also form a taxa. Wheat is also a taxa. Similarly, animals, mammals, dogs are all taxa. But you know that a dog is a mammal and any mammals are animals. Therefore, animals, mammals and dogs represent taxa at different level. Hence, based on characteristic, all living organisms can be classified into different taxa. This process of classification is taxonomy, external and internal structure, along with the structure of cell development process and ecological information of organism are essential and form the basis of modern taxonomic study. Hence, characterization, identification, classification and nomenclature are the process that are basis to taxonomy. Okay, taxonomy is not something new. Human beings have always been interested in knowing more and more about the various kind of organism, particularly with reference to their own use in earlier days. Human beings needed to find source for their basic need of food, clothing, and shelter. Hence, the earliest classification was based on the uses of various organisms. Human beings were since long not only interested in knowing more about different kind of organism and their diversity, but also the relationship among them. This branch of study we refer to as systematics. The word systematic is derived from the Latin word systema, which means systemic arrangement of organisms. Linnaeus used Systema Naturae as the title of his publication. The scope of the systematic was later enlarged to include identification, nomenclature, and classification. System takes into account evolutionary relationship between organisms. Taxonomic category. Classification is not a single step process but involves hierarchy of steps in which each step represents a rank or a category. Since the category is a part of overall taxonomic arrangement, it is called the taxonomic category, and all categories together constitute the taxonomic hierarchy. Each category referred to as a unit of classification in fact represents a rank and is commonly termed as taxon. Taxonomic category and hierarchy can be illustrated by an example. Insect represent a group of organisms sharing common features like three pair of jointed legs. It means insects are recognizable concentrate object which can be classified and turned were given to a rank or category. Can you name other such a group of organism? Remember, group represent category. Category further denote rank. Each rank or taxon in fact represent a unit of classification. These taxonomic group category are distinct biological entity and not merely morphological aggregates. Taxonomical study of all non-organisms has led to the development of common categories such as kingdom, phylum or division for plants, class, order, family, genus and species. All organisms, including those in the plant and animal kingdom, have species as the lowest category. Now the question you may ask is how to place an organism in various category. The basic requirement in the knowledge of characters of individual of a group of organism. This help in identify similarity and dissimilarity among the individual of same kind of organism as well as the other kind of organism. Species. Taxonomic study consider a group of individual organisms with fundamental similarity as a species. One should be able to distinguish one species from the other closely related species based on the distinct morphological difference. Let us consider Mangifera indica, Solanum, tuberosum, potato, and Panthera leo. All the three names indica, tuberosum, and leo represent the specific habitat, while the first word Mangifera, Solanum, and Panthera are genera and represent another high level of taxon or category. Each genus may have one or more than one specific epithet represent different organism but having morphological similarities. For example, Panthera has another specific epithet called tigris, and Solanum include species like Nigrum and Melidogoina. A human being belong to the species sapiens, which is grouped in the genus Homo. The scientific name thus for human being is written as Homo sapiens. Genus. Genus comprise a group of related species which has more characters in common in comparison to species of other genera. We can say that genera are aggregates of closely related species. For example, potato and brinjal are two different species but both belong to genus Solanum. Lion, Panthera leo, leopard, Panthera pardus, and tiger, Panthera tigris, and with several common features, are all species of the genus Panthera. These genus differ from another genus Felis, which include cats. Okay. Family. The next category family has a group of related genera which with still less number of similarity as compared to genus and species. Families are corrected on the basis of both vegetative and reproductive feature of plant species. Among plant, for example, three different genera Solanum, Petunia and Datura are placed in the family Solanaceae. Among animal, for example, genus Panthera comprise lion, tiger, leopard is the put along with genus Felis cat in the family Felidae. Similarly, if you observe the feature of a cat and a dog, you will find some similarity and some difference as well. They are separated into two different families, Felidae and Canidae, respectively. Order. You have seen earlier that category like species, genus and families are based on a number of similar characters. Generally, order and other higher taxonomic category are identified based on the aggregate of characters. Order being a high category uh, is the assemblage of family which exhibit a few similar characters. The similar characters are less in number as compared to different genera included in a family. Plant family like Convolvulaceae, Solanaceae are included in the order of Polymoniales, mainly based on floral character. The animal order Carnivora include family like Felidae and Canidae. Class. This category include related order. For example, order Primata comprise monkey, gorilla and gibbon is placed in class Mammalia along with order Carnivora that include animal like tiger, cat and dog. Class Mammalia has other order also. Phylum. Classes comprise animal like fishes, amphibia, reptiles, bird along with mammals constitute the next higher category called phylum. All this based on the common feature like presence of notochord and dorsal hollow neural system are included in phylum Chordata. In case of plant, classes with a few similar characters are assigned to a high category called division. Kingdom. All animals belonging to various phyla are assigned to the highest category called kingdom Animalia in the classification system of animals. The kingdom Plantae, on the other hand, is distinct and comprises all plants from various divisions. Henceforth, we will refer to these two groups of animal and plant kingdom. The taxonomic category from species to kingdom has been shown in ascending order starting with the species in figure 1.1. These are broad category. However, taxonomist has also developed subcategory in their hierarchy to facilitate more sound and scientific placement of various taxa. Look at the hierarchy in figure 1.1. Can you recall the basis of arrangement? Say for example, as we go higher from species to kingdom, the number of common character goes on decreasing. तो पहले ये देख लेते हैं. तो सबसे नीचे स्पीसीज से जीनस से फैमिली से ऑर्डर से क्लास से एनिमल है तो फाइलम और प्लांट है तो डिवीज़न और फिर किंगडम. Lower the taxon, more are the characteristics that the member within the taxon share. Are the category greater is the difficulty of determining the relationship to other taxa at same level. Hence, the problem of classification become more complex. Table 1.1 indicate the taxonomic category to which some common organisms like housefly, man, mango, and weed belong. First of all, that is man, biological name, Homo sapiens, genus Homo, family Hominidae, order Primata, class Mammalia, phylum Chordata, housefly, biological name Musca domestica, genus Musca, family Mucidae, order Diptera, class Insecta, इसका जो डिवीज़न फाइलम ऑर्थोपोडा। मैंगो बायोलॉजिकल नेम मैंजीफेरा इंडिका, जीनस मैंजीफेरा, फैमिली अनारकेडेसी, ऑर्डर सेपिंडल्स। ऑर्डर सेपिंडल्स, क्लास डाइकोटिलिडी, डिवीज़न एंड एंजियोस्पर्मी। बायोलॉजिकल नेम वीट का ट्राइटिकम एस्टिवम, जीनस ट्राइटिकम, फैमिली पोएसी, ऑर्डर पोएल्स, क्लास मोनोकोटिलिडी, मोनोकॉट, और डिवीज़न एंजियोस्पर्म। दैट इज़ अब आते हैं टैक्सोनॉमिकल एड्स। Taxonomic study of various species of plant, animal and other organisms are useful in agriculture, forestry, industry and general in knowing our bioresources and their diversity. This study would require correct classification and identification of organism. Identification of organism require intensive lab and field study. The collection of actual specimens of plant and animal species is essential and it is the prime source of taxonomic studies. These are also fundamental to studies and essential for training in systematics. It is used for classification of an organism and the information gathered is also stored along with the specimens. In some cases the specimens is preserved for future studies. Biologists have established certain procedure and technique to store and preserve the information as well as the specimens. Some of these are explained to help you understand the uses of these aids. Now, herbarium. Herbarium is a storehouse of collect plant species specimens that are dried, pressed and preserved on sheet. Further, these sheets are arranged according to a universally accepted system of classification. These specimens along with their description on herbarium sheet become a storehouse or repository for future use. The herbarium sheet also carry a label providing information about date and place of collection, English, local and botanical name, family, collector name, etc. Herbaria also serve as quick referral system in taxonomic study. That is the picture of herbarium store. Botanical garden. These specialized garden have collection of living plant for reference. Plant species in this garden are grow for identification purpose and each plant is labeled indicating it is botanical / scientific name and it is family. The famous botanical garden are at Kew, England, Indian Botanical Garden, Howrah, India, and National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow, India. Museum. Biological museums are generally set up in educational institutes such as school and colleges. Museums have collection of preserved plant and animal specimens for study and reference. Specimens are preserved in the container or jar in preservative solution. Plant and animal specimen may also be preserved as dry specimen. Insects are preserved in insect box after collecting, killing and pinning. Large animals like bird and mammals usually stuffed and preserved. Museums often have collection of skeleton of animals. Zoological park. These are the places where wild animals are kept in protected environments under human care and which enable to learn about their food, habitat and behavior. All animals in a zoo are provided as far as possible. The conditions similar to their natural habitat. Children love visiting these parks commonly called zoos. Figure 1.3 में देख सकते हो आप. Keys. Key is another taxonomical aid used for identification of plant and animal based on the similarity and dissimilarity. The key are based on the contrasting character generally in a pair called couplet. It represents the choice made between the two opposite options. These result in acceptance of only one and rejection of the other. This statement, the key is called a lead. Separate taxonomic keys are required for each other categories such as family, genus and species. For identification purpose, keys are generally analytical in nature. Flora manuals and category are some other means of recording descriptions. They also help in correct identification. Flora contain the actual account of habitat and distribution of plant of a given area. This provide the index to the plant species found in a particular area. A manual are useful in providing information for identification of names of species found in an area. Monograph contain information on any one taxon. समरी भी देख लेते हैं हाथों हाथ. द लिविंग summary. The living world is rich in variety. Millions of plant and animal have been identified and described, but a large number still remains unknown. The very range of organism in terms of size, color, habitat, physiological and morphological feature make us seek the defining character of living organism. In order to facilitate the study of kind and diversity of organism, biologists have evolved certain rules and principles for identification, nomenclature and classification of organism. The branch of knowledge dealing with this aspect is referred to as taxonomy. The taxonomic study of various species of plant and animal are useful in agriculture, forestry, industry and in general for knowing our bioresources and their diversity. The basis of taxonomic like identification, naming and classification of organism are universally evolved under international codes based on the resemblance and distinct different. Each organism is identified and assigned to correct scientific/biological name comprise two words as per the bionomical system of nomenclature. An organism represent occupy a place or a position in the system of classification. These are many categories/rank and are generally referred to as the taxonomic category or taxa. All the categories constitute the taxonomic hierarchy. Taxonomy have evolved a variety of taxonomic aid to facilitate identification, naming and classification of organism. These studies are carried out from the actual specimens which are collected from the field and preserved as reference in the form of herbarium, museum, in botanical garden and zoological park. It requires special technique for collection and preservation of specimen in herbarium and museum. Live specimen, on the other hand, of plant and animal are found in botanical garden or in zoological park. Taxonomical also prepare and disseminate information through manuals and monograph for further taxonomic study. Taxonomic keys are tools that help in identification based on characters. After all, हमारी रीडिंग पूरी हुई. सो थैंक यू फॉर वाचिंग दिस वीडियो. और ये वीडियो आपके लिए हेल्पफुल रहेंगी, ये रीडिंग आपके लिए हेल्पफुल रहेंगी. सो मिलते हैं अगली वीडियो में. थैंक यू.